Welcome to Eye Contact. I'm Sean Henahan. Today I'm very pleased to be speaking with renowned surgeon Dr. Soosan Jacob about her life in ophthalmology. Welcome, Susan.
Thanks, Sean.
Perhaps you could start by telling us, how did you become an ophthalmologist? How did that come about?
Well, Sean, in India, when I was a child and when I was doing my schooling rather, there were two options that were always there for anyone who liked science. One was to be a doctor and one was to be an engineer. And I definitely didn't want to become an engineer, so I chose doctor. And once I started medical school, I found that I liked surgical field better. And when it was time to choose about which surgical field I'd like to do, I chose ophthalmology simply because it's much more elegant surgery, I thought. The microscopic views and everything, it's the small structures that you're dealing with. Everything, there's so much of finesse in it that you don't see in other surgeries. You're dealing with these delicate structures, there's no blood, it's clean surgery. And you end up making a lot of difference to the patient's life, India has a burden of blindness of about 10 million, which is close to the population of Paris and London combined. So I'm very happy about the choice I made.
You worked with some real innovators in the field as you were training. Tell us about that.
Right. So I worked with Dr. Amar, Professor Amar Agarwal. I joined with him actually, and that always led to an institution which was always full of innovation. It was always open to innovation. It invited innovation, new ideas, new thinking. I think that really made a lot of difference in the way changed my outlook to ophthalmology, made me start thinking about new things, new ways to do things and stuff like that. There have of course always been also other influences in my life. My parents, right from my childhood, they kind of molded me to be an inquisitive person, to try and find answers. I think that helped a lot. My husband, he's an interventional cardiologist, so he's also always he understands the medical field, of course. Therefore, there's a lot of encouragement from him, advice from him to go on looking at new things, and we can always discuss these things over the dinner table, which always helps, I think. And and my children also luckily have taken to the challenge of a working mother well, so they're doing well academically as well, thankfully for that. And all these things, I think it's the entire milieu that you have in your life, right from your childhood to whatever is happening to you in your present life, that all molds you and kind of makes you into what you are and the things that you do.
Well, that raises an interesting question. How do you handle the balance of life and career?
Yeah, that's always something that each person has to figure out for their own. As I said, I do have some advantages. My husband's also in the same field, even if not in ophthalmology, he's a cardiologist. So there's a lot of understanding at home, and basically it's kind of my principle, I would say, is to delegate what you don't absolutely necessarily need to do yourself, and do what you know that it's only yourself who can do it. So there are some things in life that that you should be the one doing it, and there's other things which anyone could do. And my principle is you try, and you've got only a limited amount of time, and you need to use that wisely. You need to use it for your work, you need to use it for your family. You cannot ignore your children, you cannot ignore your husband. So you have to kind of have a well-rounded life, and the only way to do that is not to waste time doing things which are not absolutely essential, and do the things which are required.
So as you've been working, you've seen the whole field change so much. What occurs to you about the changes in cataract surgery, for example, over the last 15, 20 years?
Yeah, I think it's amazing the way things have been changing, right from the way it evolved from intracapsular cataract extraction, where the lens would just be pulled out with a cryoprobe, and then you came to phacoemulsification, and we all thought, wow, that's such a great technology. And then it evolved further, and then the femtosecond lasers came, and of course there's still a debate about whether that is really such a great technology or not. But whichever way you look at it, I think technology is always going to keep progressing. So whatever is good today may not remain good tomorrow. So there's always something else that's going to become better. Cataract surgery may be completely different a few years from now. You already have the drops which could possibly go on to treat cataract as well. So we don't know how it's going to go, but one thing is for sure, science always leads to progress. You'll always see new and better things coming, because a scientist is never going to be happy with what they have. They're always looking for better things, and that's the way the world should go.
And yet technology may not always necessarily be an improvement. You're a proponent of manual small incision cataract surgery.
Right. Yes, I absolutely agree with that. So you have to have a very balanced approach to what you're going to be doing. Just because something is new doesn't necessarily make it good. The answer, I think, to technology is to keep it simple and safe. As long as those principles are applied, they're good. The benefits should be there to the patient and to the surgeon as well. So if you think that a cataract is very hard or the endothelial cell count is very low, I might sometimes prefer to do a small incision cataract surgery. And I think that should be in the armamentarium of every surgeon, because there are situations when you want to convert from phacoemulsification, you want a bailout procedure, and that should be there in your armamentarium. So definitely, just because something is older, it doesn't make it outdated. There are lots of things that you still need to retain. For example, suturing. I know a lot of youngsters struggle with suturing, and that's such an important skill to have. So these are things which you need to still start from the basics.
Well, that comes to my final question. What advice do you have for a trainee surgeon who's just starting out?
Well, I think you need to start steady and aim high and keep thinking and keep going. And you have to understand that the journey is the reward.
Very good. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you for joining us. For more information, please visit us at eurotimes.org.